A famous rich businessman got sick. He needed a professional doctor and was ready to pay a lot of money. Many fake doctors applied, hoping to get that amount. Take a look at their resumes and tell which doctor is the real one. It says that Mr. Robert Greene was born on November 31st, but this date doesn't exist. There are just 30 days in November, so this resume must be fake. As for Dr. Matthias Johnson, there's no city mentioned in the place of birth, only the state. If I were that rich gentleman, I'd definitely pick the first candidate. Leslie lived in a house where she wasn't allowed to have any pets. But one day, she found a cute, lonely dog that didn't have an owner. She couldn't resist and took it home. A few weeks later, the house owner knocked on her door. Leslie hid the dog and opened the door. Still, the owner instantly knew that she was keeping a dog. How did he know? She forgot to hide the dog's food. A huge pack is still in her room. Tatum got messages from 3 different guys who wanted to go out with her: Zion, Toby, and Brick. She loved reading, especially detective stories, and she told that to each of the guys. Can you guess which of the guys lied to her based on their responses? Zion: "Sure, I absolutely love detective stories. My grandpa knew Sherlock Holmes himself." Toby: "Same. Last year I read 200 books and most were detective stories." Brick: "Wow, that's awesome. My mom owns a bookstore in New York and she always brings me books, so I love reading too." Zion was lying. Sherlock Holmes is a book character and he never existed in real life, so his grandpa couldn't possibly know him. Eloise was having a birthday party. She invited 3 people over and got 3 presents: a pair of gloves, a bag of makeup, and sunglasses. However, Eloise didn't like one of the presents. Can you guess which one and why? She didn't like the pair of gloves. Both of them are right-handed. 3 zombie girls are chasing Jake. One of them is his ex-girlfriend. Can you tell which one? Take a closer look at Jake's shoulder. He has a tattoo that says J+L. These must be the first letters of his and his girlfriend's names. If you take another closer look, you can see that Zombie Girl B has a tag attached to her leg saying Lucy. It must be her name, and it starts exactly with an L. So, Zombie B must be his ex. Esme went for a walk in the woods and got lost. She's been wandering around until she approached the witch's house. She pet her cat and asked if the witch can send her home. The witch agreed to let Esme go if the girl guessed her name. Luckily, there was a hint. The capital of Romania, the capital of Oman, the capital of Spain, and the capital of Egypt. Esme got it right. Can you guess what the witch's name is? Romania has only one capital letter, and it's R. The capital letter of Oman is O. Spain gives us S, and from Egypt we get E. So it seems like the witch's name is Rose. Right before a restaurant was about to open, somebody stole all the money from the office. A detective arrived for interrogation. A cook said he was working hard and didn't have time to walk or gaze around, so he didn't see anything. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't steal anything. The waiter said that he saw one visitor going to the office, but somehow didn't realize that wasn't okay and didn't stop him. The waiter was arrested for stealing the money. Why? The restaurant was closed, and there couldn't have been any visitors inside. Indiana wanted to make her mom the best birthday present ever, but had zero ideas. So she decided to break into her mom's computer to see what she had in her online shopping cart. Her mom's computer required a password, and Indiana didn't know it. Luckily, there was a hint: 914491141. Can you guess what the password is? Each letter is the number of a respective letter in the alphabet. Ninth letter is I. Letter number 14 is N. Number 4 is D. Ninth is I again. The first one is A, the 14th is N, and then A again. So the password is Indiana. Emma, Maeve, and David like apple juice. Anna, Layla, and Ava like orange juice. Following the same logic, what kind of juice does Atlas prefer? Emma, Maeve, and David have just one letter A in their names, so they're grouped together. Anna, Layla, and Ava have 2 A's in their names. Atlas has 2 A's in the name, so she prefers orange juice. William was on vacation in Thailand. One day he met a beautiful girl there and approached her. He asked her on a date, and the girl agreed to go out with him if William guessed her name. Since she really liked him too, she gave him a hint. My name is 2/7 of Germany, 2/5 of Nepal, 2/9 of Singapore, and 1/5 of Spain. Can you guess what the girl's name is? 2/7 of Germany means 2 out of 7 letters in the word Germany, which are GE. 2/5 of Nepal gives us NE. 2/9 of Singapore adds up to SI, and 1/5 of Spain is S. So the girl's name is Genesis. The police have been looking for the person who robbed the city bank. They figured he'd try to leave the country, so they arrived at the airport and started questioning the people. One man, Bryce, said that he was a geography teacher going on his vacation to Germany, Poland, and Wonderland. Another suspect, Savannah, said she was a model going to Italy for a photo shoot. Max, a student, said that he was going home to Ukraine for the semester break. Can you tell who the robber is? It's Bryce. Wonderland is a fictional country. If he really were a geography teacher, he'd know that it doesn't exist. Annika woke up and found out that she wasn't in her room, but in some dungeon. She tried to open the door, but it required a password. The hint said SMTWT. Can you guess the following 2 letters? This is the sequence of the first letters of weekdays. S for Sunday, M for Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It means that the final 2 are F and S, Friday and Saturday. Mrs. Lawrence had 3 teenage daughters, Serenity, Kennedy, and Autumn. They were all grounded and couldn't leave the house. However, one of the neighbors reported that they've seen one of the girls at the mall but couldn't tell which one. Mrs. Lawrence came home and asked the girls what they were doing. Serenity said that she was reading all day. Kennedy said that she was watching a movie in her room and never left the house. Autumn said that she had spent the day in the garden. Mrs. Lawrence immediately knew who lied. Can you tell? Look, Kennedy and Autumn have dirty shoes. That's okay for Autumn because she said she'd been in the garden. Kennedy said that she'd never left her room, so her shoes can't possibly be that dirty. She must have lied. Dakota got in a car accident and was suffering from memory loss. She was a popular girl at school, and everyone wanted to be friends with her. Since Dakota couldn't remember who her friends were, one of the girls decided to pretend she was her bestie. On Monday, 3 girls visited Dakota. Ava brought her some snacks and chocolates. Nova got her earrings that Dakota had wanted to buy. Arden made her a friendship bracelet and brought a movie. Can you tell which girl isn't Dakota's friend? It's Nova. She got her earrings, but Dakota's ears aren't even pierced, so she couldn't have wanted to get them. Can you tell which werewolf is real here? Werewolves only turn from a person into a wolf at night and when it's the full moon. On the left, it's a day, so the person can't turn into a werewolf. It must be a costume. On the right, it's night, but there's no full moon, so the person shouldn't look like this as well. In the middle, everything seems normal. It's night, it's full moon, and the person has turned into a werewolf. It must be the one. Can you tell who's a real mermaid here? The second one is a guy, so he definitely isn't a mermaid. The girl on the right is chilling in the sun, and she's out of the water. Mermaids wouldn't do that because they dry out in the sun. So the real mermaid must be the one on the left. Take a look at these three people. Can you recognize the real vampire? If you look closely at the first one, he's wearing a silver chain. Real vampires can't stand silver, so this must be fake. The girl in the middle is wearing a silver bracelet, so she doesn't fit either. But the third vampire seems to be valid, at least at first sight. A teenage girl, Skylar, got poisoned after school, and Detective Callum had to solve the case. He interrogated the classmates, and one girl said that she saw another girl, Ayla, adding something to Skylar's water bottle. However, no one else has seen it. He talked to Ayla's boyfriend, who said that she was with him after school. Another witness was a guy working at a cafe who saw Ayla and her boyfriend there and even showed pictures from the security camera. Still, Ayla was arrested for poisoning Skylar. Why? Take a look at the picture of Ayla. She has a tattoo on her left arm. However, in the security pictures, the girl who was in the cafe with Ayla's boyfriend has a tattoo on her right arm. Turned out, Ayla had a twin sister no one knew about, who covered up for her.
Hey, dear detective! It's time you apply your skills to solve the toughest brain teasers we've got. Look at these hands. All of them seem to belong to wealthy people. But it's just an illusion. Your first case is to figure out which person is indeed rich. Have you noticed the brand names on the accessories on the left and the right hands are misspelled? These luxury items must be fake. As for the hand in the middle, it's decorated with a real gold bracelet. It most likely belongs to a rich person. Now, look at these travelers and their bags very attentively. Can you spot a smuggler? Why would a blind person need a flashlight in his luggage? That's suspicious. He must be the criminal we're looking for. Which of these people is poor? Pay attention to the guy with an iPhone. The apple on the back is whole, which means the phone is fake. How about these people? Who is richer? The man on the left looks like a rich businessman, but he might be pretending. At the same time, the guy with green hair looks very casual. But he's holding a brand new laptop and expensive headphones. He's likely to be richer. Can you figure out which of these athletes is poor? It must be the blonde guy who's wearing a fake Adidas shirt. Or should I say, a Bebas. You wake up in a room with 3 doors. Suddenly, someone starts knocking on each of them. You come up to each door in turn and sneak a peek through the peephole. Behind each door, there's a police officer. Do you know which door is safe to open? You can open the third door without any worries. The first man doesn't show his badge and has a knife tucked under his belt. The second man has weird stars on his uniform. As for the third police officer, he is the only one with identical stars on his hat and badge without any hidden weapon. He's your safest option. These people look homeless, but one of them isn't poor. Who is it? Look at the guy with the cart. He's got car keys. Now this task is tough. Which of these ladies doesn't have a lot of money? Think twice before answering. The lady in pink buys only those clothes that are on sale. She might be poor. Doris was having a beach vacation with her friend Teresa. One morning, the young women were sunbathing near the water. Teresa went to a cafe to get some lemonade while Doris went swimming. When she came back, she saw that her smartphone, which she had left on her beach towel, was gone. She asked a man sunbathing nearby if he had seen her smartphone. He answered that he'd been sleeping the whole time. At this moment, Teresa came back with the lemonade. She looked around and immediately understood where Doris's phone was. Who took it? It was the neighbor. Before the accident, the spade was lying on his left. Now it's on the right. There's also a suspicious pile of sand near the spade now. The man must have hidden the phone in the sand, hoping to dig it out later. Look at these guys attentively. One of them is not living alone. Who is it? The man on the right. He's got 2 toothbrushes. Joe had a friend, Randy, who never answered questions directly. Once, Joe sent Randy a message inviting him to join their common friends in a cafe. Randy's answer was kinda weird. Sorry, no money, job and job. Luckily, Joe knew his friend well enough to understand what he meant. But can you figure it out? Randy meant he had no money because he was in between jobs. Terry invited his friend Alice, who was studying to become a police officer, to a party. It was organized by his friend Sean. Terry was worried that there could be a thief at this party. Throughout the event, Alice was watching the guests attentively. At the end of the party, she told Terry who the thief was. Have you figured it out? It's the host, Sean. At the beginning of the party, one of the guests had a watch on his wrist, and this woman had a beautiful necklace. But at the end of the party, the watch was already on Sean's wrist, and the necklace was in the flower pot. The police were informed that one of the most wanted criminals, Carl Walker, was going to arrive in the country. According to this information, the man was going to come by plane. Unfortunately, the police knew very little about him. He was short, wearing glasses, and traveling under a false name. Detective Adams went to the airport. He detained 4 people who fit the description. They were Mr. Lewis, Mr. Relkoff, Mr. Taylor, and Mr. Wilson. Can you figure out who the criminal is? It's Mr. Relkoff. His last name is actually the criminal's last name, Walker, but with its letters mixed. Austin, a rich businessman, brought very important documents to his office. But he had a meeting and needed to leave for several hours. Austin asked his secretary to be super attentive. His competitors could try to break into his office to look at the documents. When he came back, his secretary told him everything had been quiet. But when the man looked around, he realized someone had been inside his office. The secretary eventually admitted having fallen asleep while Austin was away. How did the businessman understand someone had visited his office? The globe on his desk is now turned in the opposite direction. You're trapped in a room with no doors or windows. All of a sudden, the room starts filling with water. You check everywhere but can't find any way to turn it off. You know that help is on the way, but it's still at least 5 minutes until their arrival. You only have 2 minutes. After that, the entire room will be flooded. Obviously, you can't hold your breath for 3 minutes. You've got 3 objects, but only one of them can save your life. What should you choose? A straw, a rope, or an empty bucket? You should opt for the bucket. Put it on your head. This will create an air pocket, and you'll be able to breathe for a couple of minutes until help arrives. Carter had a fast and successfully developing company until his main investor went bankrupt. Upset, Carter went to visit his best friend Justin, who was a coffee shop owner. Justin told him that a rich businessman visited his cafe almost every day. He was there that day too. The man was very secretive and didn't have any social media accounts. Justin told Carter to go and introduce himself and pointed towards the back of the coffee shop. The guy went there and saw 3 men, but he didn't ask his friend which one was the wealthy entrepreneur. He looked at the men attentively. Can you figure out which one he needs? It isn't the guy in the middle. He has a dollar store bag. The one on the right could be rich, but he's recording an Instagram story. And the businessman isn't active on any social media. This means the man Carter needs is on the left. 3 friends agreed to hang out together on a Friday night. One of them, Brian, was tasked with bringing pizza. But the guy was running extremely late. His friends were starving. Strangely, Brian wasn't picking up their calls. But in an hour or so, he sent them a selfie. In the photo, he was standing next to his car. In the following message, he wrote he had run out of gas. He was at a gas station filling up his car. But his friends didn't believe Brian's excuses. Why? In the picture, it's clearly seen that the guy has an electric car. It doesn't need gas. Marcus is a lucky game show winner. He can choose one of 3 prizes: a brand new Mercedes, an expensive laptop, or a designer wallet. What do you think is the best choice? Comment below. Look at this Mercedes. The logo is crooked. The car must be fake. The same goes for the wallet. This logo is supposed to be written in a different way. That's what the real logo looks like. But the laptop seems to be okay. The logo is correct. So, Marcus should probably opt for this device. On a rainy evening, Megan came home and found that someone had eaten her chocolate bar. She asked her sisters whether one of them had done it. Maria said she'd been working out in her room and hadn't left it the whole day. Amelia said she would never eat someone else's chocolate. And Emma answered that she'd been outside, watering plants in the garden. She'd just come home herself. Help Megan find out the truth and share your ideas in the comments. It must be Emma. Why would she need to water plants outside if it's raining? Kayla was staying at a hotel in Paris. One day, someone broke into her room and took all her expensive stuff. The police had 3 suspects. Alan said that he had been trying to pour himself some coffee downstairs. But with his arm in a sling, it had been extremely tricky. Marie told the police that she had been at the reception trying to solve some issues with her shower. And Bruce said that he had been sleeping. Help the detectives figure out who's guilty and leave them a message in the comments. Alan broke into Kayla's room. Look at his cast. He's wearing it over his sweater. It must be fake. Detective Morton has received wedding pictures of two newlywed couples from a client. He knows that both couples got married on the same beach in the Maldives. It's famous for its beautiful sunsets. But one of these couples is indeed very rich, while the other is broke. For some unfathomable reason, the detective client wants to know which couple has money. If you figure it out faster than Morton and write your answer in the comments, the detective will probably have to give you his badge. The guys on the right are wearing very simple wedding suits, but they're indeed celebrating their wedding on the beach. But if you take a closer look at the couple on the left, you'll soon realize the lighting on their fancy clothes and faces doesn't match the background. Plus, you can spot a few green screen fragments at the edges of the picture. Their photo isn't real. They can't afford to go to the Maldives in real life. They're broke. Mark found himself in the middle of a forest with three paths in front of him. The first one was covered with burning hot coals. The second path was so cold that it felt like Antarctica under his feet. And the third path was covered with sharp nails that were able to pierce any footwear. Tell Mark in the comments which path he should choose. The guy should pick the third path. All that ice is bound to be gone soon since it's too close to hot coals. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his gas tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and another customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $505. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. If you have any idea why he did so, comment below. You probably noticed that the cash register actually showed $18.35, but the cashier said $505, which looks like SOS. Detective Brown rushed to an expensive restaurant. Someone had stolen a gold spoon there. If the detective didn't find the real culprit, the waiter would have big problems. Luckily, there were still a lot of people in the restaurant, and Detective Brown questioned the main suspects. A group of friends said they were celebrating a birthday. They wouldn't spoil their party this way. A cheerful man said he'd been walking in the area and had dropped by to check out this place. And a miserable-looking guy answered that his wife had left him, and he had come to the restaurant to take his mind off his problems. You must help the detective to find the criminal. When you do, write your answer in the comments faster than the others. The second man lied. He'd said he'd been to the restaurant for the first time, but look, he's wearing a hat with the restaurant's logo. Gotcha! Adam's car broke down right in the middle of a deserted forest road. But the worst thing was that it was winter, snowdrifts were huge, and the wind was freezing cold. Adam had to get to the nearest town, and fast. But if he followed the first path, he'd have to deal with hungry wolves. The second road went through the area inhabited by bears, and if he took the third path, he'd have to cross a river covered with thin ice. You need to help the guy as fast as possible and tell him what road he should opt for in the comments. Adam should sneak through the bear's territory. These animals usually sleep in the winter. Liza was a millionaire's daughter. She was fed up with her father trying to control her life. After he told her one day he'd found a fiancé for her, she decided to run away from home. The girl knew her father would send his people to bring her back, so she never stayed in one hotel for more than one night. Once, she found herself in a small town. It was getting dark, and she had no choice but to stop at the first hotel she saw. The receptionist said that her room number was 910 and offered to show her where it was. Liza immediately grabbed her bag, ran out of the hotel, jumped in her car, and speeded away. If you can write in the comments the reason for such a weird reaction, you deserve the title of the true detective. The first digit of a hotel room number usually means the floor it's on. Room 910 is supposed to be on the 9th floor, but look at the hotel. It only has 3 floors. Young fashion designer Bruno was preparing for his first show. He was a bit anxious, so he took a break to steady his nerves. But when it was time for him to present his collection, no one could find him. In an hour, a security guard saw him in the bathroom, lying on the floor. Someone had hit him on the head. The police had 3 suspects. Maya, one of the models, said she had had problems with her dress and hadn't even had time to leave the dressing room. Catherine, one of the guests, said that she was Bruno's biggest fan and had been wearing his clothes for years. Apparently, she had no reason to hit him. Sam, the designer's assistant, said he had rushed to the nearest coffee shop to get Bruno an Americano to calm him down. Who is the culprit? Share your ideas in the comments. It was Catherine. That day, it was Bruno's first show. Then how could she be wearing his clothes for years? Richard had a collection of beautiful paintings. One day, while he was away, his favorite one got stolen. The police suspected one of Richard's neighbors. Nicole said she'd been out of town. She returned home just an hour ago and was so tired after a long drive that she immediately went to bed. Dennis said he had been getting ready to paint his house, but since it didn't seem the rain would stop anytime soon, he went to the movies instead. Julie answered that her sister had been feeling unwell. That's why Julie was busy looking after her little nephew. Take that magnifying glass of yours and tell us the truth. Who's guilty? It was Nicole. It had been raining for the whole day. If the woman had returned home just an hour before, the road under her car would be wet. Once upon a time, a weird man lived in a house. Unlike all other people, every time he went to bed, he turned on the light. But one night, something unimaginable happened. The man forgot to turn the lights on. The next day, the man got up and while eating his breakfast, he read in a newspaper that the night before, 1,000 people had been taken to a hospital at once. The man was terrified. He rushed to the police and turned himself in. If you know who the man was and why he went to the police, comment below fast. Now let's compare our answers. The man was a lighthouse keeper. His job was to turn on the light at night to guide ships safely into the harbor. When he forgot to turn on the light, a few ships missed the harbor and crashed into the shore, which led to numerous injuries and a lot of damage. Now that you know more about lighthouse keepers, there is a much tougher task for you. So you find a seemingly deserted lighthouse and decide to explore it. Suddenly, as if out of nowhere, 3 figures appear in front of you. You realize with a jolt that 2 of them are ghosts and only one is the real lighthouse keeper. But which one? Look at this image very attentively and then write down your answer in the comments. Take your time, your life depends on it. The real lighthouse keeper is on the right. Admittedly, that crazy look on his face is kinda weird, but it must be loneliness that has had such dramatic consequences. The guy in the middle must be a ghost since he's transparent. As for the guy on the left carrying an oil lamp, he's a ghost too. No one uses those lamps anymore. They were replaced by electricity long ago. Look at these 3 men swimming in the turbulent ocean. A lighthouse keeper also noticed them and called out, telling them to stay away from the water due to extremely dangerous high tides. Suddenly, he spotted a weird thing. only 2 men had wet hair. Help the lighthouse keeper figure out what was wrong with the third swimmer, and tell him about your solution in the comments. There's actually nothing mysterious about the third man. He's just bald and doesn't have any hair that could get wet. One lighthouse keeper had been lonely for so long that at one point he lost his marbles. One day, some tourists arrived at his lighthouse to marvel at the views. The lighthouse keeper locked them all inside and made them swallow pills. Some of those pills were harmless and some were poisoned. The tourists had nothing to do but take the pills. Shockingly, all of them ended up in a hospital, even though they took different pills. Now, don't let the evil keeper avoid punishment. Let us know down below what trick he used to poison all the tourists. The poison was in the water the lighthouse keeper gave the tourists to help them swallow the pills. Sneak a peek inside this lighthouse, and a bizarre sight will greet you. In the middle of the night, a woman is sitting on her bed with no lights on. She doesn't even have an oil lamp or candle burning. And still, she's reading. Is the woman a witch that can see in the dark? Or do you have another idea? Then share it in the comments. There's no magic involved here. The woman is reading Braille, and she's blind. On a remote island, there was an abandoned lighthouse. It was believed to be haunted. On a stormy night, a sailor named Jack was shipwrecked on the island. The man decided to seek refuge in the lighthouse. Inside, Jack found 3 lanterns, red, green, and blue. Beside them, he saw an inscription that read, "Choose your light wisely, for one leads to escape, one to eternal darkness, and one to the island's restless spirits." Which lantern should the guy pick if the only clue he got was to think about the traffic light signals? Join the rescue operation and write your choice down in the comments. Jack should choose the green lantern. Red signals indicate danger, symbolizing eternal darkness. Blue signals indicate caution and warning, possibly pointing to restless spirits. And green signals indicate safety and movement forward. That's the lantern that can help Jack escape from the haunted island. A powerful wizard who lived in a magic lighthouse had an assistant called Martin. Once, the wizard asked Martin to visit a potion maker and pick up 3 potions he had ordered. Martin received the parcel, but on his way back, he got into a real trap. In front of him, there was 3 doors, and he couldn't get past them. But behind the first door, there was a bottomless abyss. Behind the second door, there were venomous spiders. Even their webs were poisonous. And the third door was hiding a raging fire. Martin couldn't choose the door, so he decided to use one of the potions the potion maker had given him. But what should he opt for? The potion of invisibility, the potion of speed, or the potion of forgetfulness? Help Martin choose in the comments below. Martin's best option is to drink the potion of speed and dash through the fire so that it doesn't have time to really hurt him. An evil wizard holds you prisoner in an abandoned lighthouse, but offers you a chance to escape. There are 3 doors, A, B, and C. 2 of the doors lead to freedom, and the third door leads to lifetime imprisonment. You're allowed to point at a random door and ask the wizard a yes or no question. If you point at a door that leads to freedom, the wizard will answer your question truthfully. But if it's the door that leads to imprisonment, the wizard will answer your question randomly. If you know a way to save your life, make sure to write it down in the comments below. What if it helps someone escape one day? Point at door A and ask, does door B lead to freedom? If the wizard answers yes, then pick door B. If the wizard answers no, then pick door C. This strategy will work regardless of where door A leads. Let's say door A leads to freedom. Then the wizard will answer truthfully. That's why if the wizard answers yes, you should pick door B. And if he answers no, you should pick door C. But what if door A leads to imprisonment and the wizard answers randomly? Well, it's even easier. If door A leads to imprisonment, the other 2 doors, B and C, must lead to freedom. and you can pick any door. You don't actually need to worry where door A leads. Just pick door B when the wizard answers yes and door C when he answers no. Oliver was sailing his yacht when a terrible storm started. His ship sank in the middle of the ocean, but the man managed to reach a small island. On the beach, there was a lighthouse that looked abandoned. But soon, two men appeared in the doorway. They captured Oliver and were going to keep him locked in the lighthouse forever. Oliver agreed, but asked them to grant him one last wish. When he told the men what he wanted, they set him free. Write down in the comments your ideas about what his wish was. Oliver said that he wanted the smartest to lock him up in the lighthouse. And since neither man wanted to admit that he was not as smart as the other, they let Oliver go. Lisa and Olivia managed to escape from a sinking ship. Lisa was dragged away by a powerful current and woke up on an island near a dilapidated lighthouse. As for Olivia, she was still floating in a lifeboat, but she was extremely thirsty. You need to tell us as fast as possible which of the two girls will survive longer. Hurry up, you might save a life. Lisa is more likely to survive for a long time. She might find a source of fresh water on the island. Plus, even though the lighthouse seems to be abandoned, it can serve as a shelter. Meanwhile, Olivia can't drink ocean water because the amount of salt it contains is dangerous for people.
Hey, hungry for some new riddles? Okay, here they are. Let's start with this uncomfortable situation that happened on an airplane. On a flight from Denver to San Diego, a flight attendant noticed a woman in an orange jumpsuit. "You're a prisoner!" she screamed, and she was about to report it. "No, no!" the passenger exclaimed. "It's just a costume. I'm heading to a cosplay convention." Who do you think is right? I'd believe the passenger. She's headed to San Diego, and there are many cosplay conventions there. But also, look, her jumpsuit looks new, as if it hasn't been worn. But more importantly, there is a ticket to the convention lying by her side. Tom is about to cross a railroad bridge when he spots a big truck right in front of the underpass. It's not moving. Tom stops and asks the driver what happened. The truck is 1 inch higher than the indicated height of the underpass, the driver says. Unfortunately, this is the only road to my destination, and I am not sure what to do now. I must make the delivery on time, and the clock is ticking. What can the driver do to get through the underpass fast? The truck driver can let some air out of the tires, just enough to make the truck an inch lower. Sam and James are best friends, and they both are on a school basketball team. They always make bets, and today's bet is the following. "Listen, dude, I bet $10 that I can predict the score of the game before it starts," says James. Sam accepts. Soon enough, he passes James his $10. How come? The score before the game is always 0-0. That's what James said. Here's another bet, but you need to think outside the box to find the solution. Alex was at a carnival and went to a magician's booth. The man told Alex, "If I write your exact height on this piece of paper, you'll have to give me $5. If I make a mistake, I will pay you $10. Alex agreed and then lost his $5. How did the magician win the bet? Especially since he's just a fraud and has no magical powers whatsoever. The magician handed Alex the paper, and here's what was written on it: your exact height. Maybe it's a bit unfair, but very precise. A local police department got a call. Someone reported that a big robot was roaming the city, crashing everything around. After a bit of digging, the police traced the robot's creator, a scientist living on the outskirts of the city. Here's what the scientist said. "I created that robot, but I didn't mean any harm. Today it just went crazy and wouldn't listen to me. I've been trying to stop it, but nothing works." Luckily, the police managed to capture the robot. Now they have to figure out what to do with the scientist. Did he really try to stop the robot, or was this just his evil plan? What do you think?
I am a robot. I am a robot.
Look, the switch on the robot's body is in the off position, yet the robot still functions. It means the scientist indeed tried to turn it off and is probably telling the truth.
Robot.
Now, let's train your eyes a bit. We're in a city of superheroes, and almost every house here is owned by some well-known superhero. I'll show you different interiors, and you have to figure out who the house belongs to. Deal? Alright then, here's the first one. What's your guess? I bet you notice spiderwebs everywhere. Yes, it's Spider-Man's house. Here's the next one. What do you think? Does it ring a bell? Have you noticed those boots in the corner and a lasso? Yes, that's the residence of Wonder Woman. Let's move on to her neighbor's house. Who do you think it belongs to? Have you noticed this big hammer? Yeah, it's Thor's house. Okay, let's move on. Here's the interior of yet another house in the area. Can you guess who it belongs to? The scratches on the walls and couches hint at the one and only Wolverine. And here's the last one for today. Pay close attention and maybe you'll get it right. Well, the one living here is a patriot, with all those American flags all over the place. And there's a shield over there. Yes, of course, it's Captain America. Now, it's your turn to be a superhero. I'll show you two situations, and you'll have to decide who you need to save and who can manage on their own. You ready? Here's the first pair. Maya is running late and taking a shortcut on her way to school. Emily is driving to her aunt's house. Who should you save? Which one of them is in danger? Definitely Maya. Look, the shortcut is actually a frozen lake. But can you see the cracks? Yep, she might drown. Hurry up and save her. Good job. Now, there's a new pair for you, but only one of them needs your help. Tommy is walking to a birthday party and is texting while walking. Jaden is together with his friends. He's answering his girlfriend. Who is in danger? Both guys might fall into the maintenance hole on the way, but at least Jaden is with his friends. They'll probably notice the danger and warn him. Tommy is alone, so he might need your help. Riley is on vacation. She's on the beach getting tanned and enjoying the waves and the breeze. Chloe went on a camping trip to a local forest and stopped for some snacks. Who is in danger? It's Chloe. It's not safe to eat unknown berries. And these ones are definitely poisonous. Just look at the poor bird that obviously munched on those. You need to come and stop the girl. Okay, off to the next case. Liam is strolling through the city and Wendy is jogging in a local park. Who is in danger? A large tree branch is falling from a big height, and Liam is wearing headphones, so he won't hear a thing. He's the one who needs your help. Okay, here's your last superhero case, so look carefully. Leah and Mary went for a walk in the woods and encountered a bear. Long story short, the bear is now chasing them. Which one of them really needs your help? It's Mary. The girl is wearing heels, not the best choice of footwear since they will definitely slow her down. Hey, thanks for your help. Now here's another riddle. Keep your eyes wide open and use your logic. Melanie isn't doing well in school, so she is grounded for all winter holidays. She's supposed to study the whole time. But luckily for her, her mother often works night shifts. So every now and then, she isn't at home. Of course, Melanie sneaks out to see her friends. She tries to be very careful so that her mother doesn't notice anything. But one early morning, her mom comes back home and realizes that Melanie sneaked out of the house at night. How did she figure it out? Look, Melanie's car is the only one in the neighborhood that's not covered in snow. It means she used it not so long ago. So I can see that you can connect the dots well. I have another task for you. You see, there are a few suitcases that got lost at an airport. I'll show you what's inside, and you'll have to guess the professions of those who the suitcases belong to. Deal? Okay, here's the first one. What's the profession of its owner? This one definitely belongs to a ballerina. Perfect! Here's the second one. What do you say? It must be a photographer's suitcase. Good job! Here's more, and it's harder. Any ideas? Well, I'd say it belongs to an architect. The fourth suitcase is coming your way. Take a look. Okay, what's your call? This one probably belongs to a police officer. Great! What about this one? Yes, it must be a hairdresser suitcase. And here's the last one for today. Any ideas? I'd say it belongs to a pilot. That's it for today. Thanks for playing with me. You did well.